Come here lightly. I know that you know that this is not an entertainment. It's not something frivolous, and you made the investment of your money and time and energy, and you've set yourself up to contribute your attention, and we're going to work today. It's really wonderful to get together with you. There's just an incredible feeling in this video. It's an experience of closeness, an experience of knowing you deeply, profoundly, not superficially, not by name, not by face, not by story, but nevertheless to know you profoundly, to know you because you're here watching this. Actually, what I'm after in being with you in this video today, as I said, I came here to be with you. What I'm after in being here today, and what I'm after in being with you, is something which is within you. In other words, I didn't bring something here inside me that I want to get outside and put up so you can take a look at it and tell me whether you like it or not. I came here to share something which I've discovered in all of us, something which is innate to human beings. It's kind of like being human is innate to human beings, but it's something that many of us don't recognize in ourselves. So it's kind of like my purpose today to poke you in the ribs about something that, while it's there in you, I want you to become clear for us and amongst us. Our purpose in being together has to do with being. It has to do with shifting from the kind of life in which you find yourself, in circumstances, in the midst of forces which literally are molding your life, from the kind of life which you do the best you can given the circumstances you got, to being able to truly determine the way in which your life will go. You see, one of the things that brought me to this was trying to see where we really are. Now, in the normal course of events, if you don't want to do really important thinking, you don't start with where you are. You start at the beginning. In other words, you see, well, you just got to get all the stuff aside and start down with the very basic premises. You've got to get down to the basic truth in life. And so, because that's the objective, that's where many people start. So, I'd like you to know that I didn't start there. I started by taking a look at the facts of life as now exists. So I didn't start at the beginning. I started in the middle because that's where I am. That's where you and I are. We are in the middle of it. It would be really nice if we had a slate that was clean and we could be sitting here meeting, determining the principles by which we're going to fill the slate. But I'm afraid that's fait accompli. That's already been done. So if we are to come to having any ability to determine our fate, if we are to come to have a say in life, we're going to have to come to it from where we're at, from where we find ourselves. We're going to have to come to it from here. And while it is really true that no one wants to say it, while it's true and it's a kind of stupid public utterance, because while it's true that people may attack you for saying it, it is nevertheless true that our lives don't give us the sense that we make any difference or that anything counts. You see, I know that, like you, I had hoped that when some such something, which I put my aim towards, happened, that was really going to make a difference. Let me give you an example of what I mean. And it was just a few years ago when absolutely everything in this auditorium would have been familiar and had their attention riveted on and be paying close attention to something which had captured the imagination, the attention, the feelings, the minds, the opinions, the intellect of a whole nation of people, as well as people around the world, something really vital to our lives, something that had a great impact on our lives, something that was truly important. And that was the issue of Watergate and the issue of Nixon's presidency. So I want you in an attempt to understand how important all these things are in our lives, to take a look at the enormous shift in the quality of your life on the day or the days and weeks or months after Nixon resigned as president. Do you notice how your whole life changed? I mean, the quality of your life suddenly expanded so that life was wonderful and you had a sense that you counted in life and you really had an opportunity to make a difference. And think or not, there's something amiss. There's something rotten someplace, because the things you and I pay attention to, the things we give our hearts and our attention and our feelings and our intellect and our opinions and our lives over to, don't seem to have made any real difference. I want to read a quote, which I know everyone knows, but it's a kind of poetry, and has the capacity to reach into and touch our experience. You know that light of recognition that goes on when you understand something. But poetry has that ability to reach into our experience for the light of recognition when you've experienced something. To quote Shakespeare, who has that capacity to reach into our experience, he says, "Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing." And that's the sense available to us in life. You see, I love all of the books and all of the people who talked about it. If we don't watch out, we're going to blow ourselves up. Or if we don't watch out, we're going to have a cataclysmic overpopulation in which the world will be ended by a cataclysm. Let me tell you, that is very unlikely. Doomsday is a possibility, but the great preponderant probability is that we will continue on in this petty pace. Helen Keller said, "Life is either a daring adventure or nothing." And for most people, it's nothing. Even the daring adventures turn out to be nothing. It seems that we won't make a difference. My God, in our lifetimes, in our memory, a short enough time ago to still be in our experience, we pointed not over to the left field fence, but out into space and said, "This we shall do." And we did it. And it was monumental. And it brought us to tears. It inspired us. It moved us. It gave us a glimpse into a potential human of humankind. People around the world were inspired and moved. They were allowed to get next to what could be. And it seems not to have made a difference. It goes on in this petty pace. There isn't a commentator today who is not aware of that. One of the fundamental problems in this country is that we have no sense of national purpose, or had no sense. We had no sense of dignity. Therefore, we have no dignity around the world. This isn't surprising to anybody. Everybody knows it. Some people say is what we need is a great crisis to bring us together. Boy, is that a hell of a comment on what we are. That's right. People who don't make any difference, people whose actions don't make any difference, people who don't count, people whose choices don't make any difference because they don't matter, will need a great crisis to bring them together. They'll need a war, or a moral equivalent of a war. They will not even be able to act their own intelligent best interest, and we don't. We count so little. We make so little difference. We matter so little that we can't even act on our own intelligent best interest. So we do instead is to blame everything but ourselves, because people who don't make any difference aren't big enough to shoulder the responsibility themselves. Take a look at the percentage of people who vote in an election. If you had the responsibility to select the next mayor of this city, of your city, the next president of the United States, if that was your job, if your vote counted, by God, you'd be out there counting. And so with the rest of the 60% or more of the people who didn't vote. Not that doesn't count to people who aren't eligible to vote, take a look at the way you've construed your own life. Take a look at what you're doing with it. Take a look at what you've been doing with your life. Take a look at what people do with their lives. See if it reflects the experience, the awareness that they make a difference. See, most people wake up in the morning because the alarm clock rings, not because it makes a difference. Most people will go to work on Monday, not because it makes any difference whether they go to work or not. But it's Monday, it's time to go to work, so we go to work. Do we work in our jobs as if our lives depended on our work, as if life depended on our work? Do we work in our jobs like who we are in our jobs really makes a difference? Do we really? No, not really. I want to stay with you. I want to stay with what I'm telling you long enough to give you an opportunity to look at it for yourself, to come to grips with it for yourself, but to look at it, to really observe it, to be with it, not think it, not just think it. But really get with yourself for a moment. Get with your real, honest to God experience of life. I will continue. Hope you're having a great day. Peace, love. Bye. See ya.